5 Health News and the CDC saying that small gatherings are fueling the rise in COVID cases. Joining us now is Dr. Purvi Parikh, Clinical Assistant Professor of Infectious Diseases and Immunology at NYU Langone. Good to have you here, Doctor. Let's start with an example of this. The CDC is reporting that a teen on a family trip this summer turned a vacation into a super spreader event. Tell us more about that.
Right. So, one teenager with a negative test, might I add, was able to infect 11 family members of all ages, from other children up to even 70-year-old family members, and across multiple states as well. So, this underscores, I think, two things. One, you can't rely on a negative test to let your guard down and to throw caution to the wind. From what I understand, there wasn't masking, there wasn't social distancing, and we know the virus spreads a lot indoors in these enclosed spaces. And we know that children, unfortunately, although don't get sick, they do spread it, and especially to people who could get very sick. So as we move through the winter, we have to be very careful, especially with holidays coming up.
Right. I think when people go back home, they just sort of hope for the best and say, all right, we're family. Yeah. But that's the problem. You don't take the precautions. And if someone did bring it on the trip, somehow they got infected along the way, it leads to big problems. So that, I think, is worth hearing again and again as we approach the holidays this year. And there's more evidence that blood type may play a role in the severity of your COVID. One blood type in particular seems to give you some protective measures, right?
Right. So, a very large study out of Denmark, almost 500,000 people, looked at those infected with COVID-19 and their blood type. And what we found was, blood type O tends to get infected less, so have more negative tests. And even if they do get sick, they tend to do better, especially in intensive care units. They're less likely to need mechanical ventilations. And they found that also for blood type B. But again, this is just a link. This isn't throw caution to the wind. You still have to take precautions because the blood type doesn't, give you a free pass, especially if you're in a high-risk group like elderly or with other medical problems.
It's interesting. It does seem like the more we learn, the more perplexing it gets. So that one particular type of blood, it's wild. It's just, it's a heck of a thing, this virus. All right, Dr. Purvi Parikh, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Right.
Well,